The MoneyFlows portal has a lot of enhancements that I'm going to walk you through now. So regardless if you're individual, a pro, or an advisor member, you're going to have a lot of portfolio insights. If you are an individual subscriber, you get access to our top level flows. So this is basically the beginning of the MoneyFlows process every single day. So here you select top level flows. You're going to have your key over here to the left. This is going to tell you which modules you have access to. But let's go over the top level flows. First is the Big Money Index. This is by far our North Star. So right up at the top, you get an oversold, overbought indicator telling you where we are in the stream of things. You get a hover over experience of the BMI that updates daily. And you can have this BMI be over the SPY, IWM, diamonds, or triple Qs. I like using SPY. Also up here, you're going to see three other items that you can look at. Number one is you can look at equity flows. This is very, very important. This is telling you the number of stocks that saw inflows and outflows on a daily basis. So over the past year, you can see here on November 6th, we had 490 inflows. Notice that markets tend to not see extreme buying for a long period of time, and markets tend to have a reversion. You also see this during big sell-offs. Here we can see extreme capitulation. This occurred during the tariff liberation day of April 8th. This is roughly 854 stocks that were sold. These are going to be extreme forced selling events, and the market tends to rally after capitulation. We do the same thing with ETFs. This is looking at the same type of data as stocks. Extreme inflows, extreme outflows, that's what you want to be on the lookout for. And then you can look at the elevated trading volume module. This is very cool. This is looking at thousands of stocks every day. How many are trading in an unusual way? Institutional volumes. Here you can see in April, during the tariff situation, we had extreme volumes, okay? And they tend to not last forever. Now, if you are a pro subscriber, you're going to get a lot more modules. You're also going to get the top level flows, but let's go ahead and get into other modules. First is you can dive down into the daily analysis and see the inflows and outflows by market cap. So here on this given day, we've got 47 inflows into small caps. These are market cap ranging from 500 million to 5 billion. 27 were sold. You can see the same thing in mid caps and also in large caps. But what's the key here? 92 inflows, 72 outflows. There's a lot of action happening under the surface of the market every single day. Now, if you want to take this to sectors, check this out. This is really cool. So what this does is it takes all your flows, okay? So for this one, we're going to talk about inflows. We can see the flow distribution broken out by sector. So on this given day, industrials were 21% of the inflows, 19 stocks. 16 stocks were in healthcare, and then technology was 14. Over here to the right is giving you a sector rank for all 11 sectors. Here we see utilities is the #1 ranked sector. Real estate is the last. Now inside of these, when you hover over, you can see the technical score and the fundamental score. Now remember, that is an equally weighted average of all of the scores in that sector. Now a couple of other things you can do. You can study the outflows. So on this given day, technology had a lot of outflows. And you can also check this out by market cap. So if you just want to look at large caps, you just want to look at mid caps, or you want to look at small caps, you'll be able to do that dive as well. You can also look down here. We break out whatever levels that you look at, whatever date range, you're going to be able to look at these sectors. So discretionary for this date, 4 inflows, 6 outflows. The net flow was -2. And you can also see what the universe size is for that, just to keep this into perspective. Technology in this case had 14 inflows and 26 outflows. So the net flow was a -12. And then down here, we can plot these sector charts. Here's discretionary. Here's technology. So very, very cool if you like doing sector dives. Now let's go into actual stocks. Here I'm in the daily flows module, and this is looking at all of the equities specifically. So we just went top level, then we went to market caps, we went to sectors. Now we're in daily flows. Now you can go in here and you can select inflows only, outflows only, but I just want to look at all flows for this. You can also do your tech scores and your fundamental scores. I like to look at high scores, but you can really mess around and isolate the areas that you care about. Here's the sector flow distribution. This is really very important. You can hover over and see what the inflows and outflows are by sector. And here we can see the top performers by MAP score. So this is telling you what are the top ranked stocks that saw inflows. If it's green, it's inflows. If it's red, it's outflows. But here we've got Palantir is 87.9. We can see that right over here in this hover graph. This is showing you all of the flows, every single stock and its score. So here we can hover over, we can see a bunch of names here. What was getting sold? Procept, Fiserv, Bruker. Really, really cool information here. We have this table that outlines all the stocks that showed inflows for the day and also outflows. So here we've got 50 selected. You can select 100 and then you start to see other outflows and inflows. And again, as we go through this, you get to see the stock, tech score, map score, fundamental score. Okay. Now you can always put different dates and see different activity based on whatever the date range. Very powerful stuff depending on what we're doing with the market. Now let's say, hey, well, what are your top ranked equities? This is very, very cool. You can come in here, select your date, and then we have 5 broad sector groups that you can select from here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the grid view. And here we've got energy, materials, industrials, and utilities selected. So what's our #1 ranked stock in this group? It's Palantir. And this return profile here in the green, this is telling you what is the performance of this stock since it first appeared in this top ranked list over the past 90 days. So Vistra Corp, it's a utility company, it's up 54%. Now we can go back to the table view and you can see what our top and bottom ranked stocks are in this group. So Dow is the lowest ranked stock and it's down 22% since it was first profiled on this report in 90 days. We do the same thing for financials and REITs, the same thing for healthcare, and then we also do retail consumer, and then we obviously do technology. Very, very, very powerful here. Now, up to this point, you may want to know, why do you want to care about flows? Well, let's just click on a ticker. Let's use Palantir as an example. Okay, right away, it's got a very strong map score of 87.9. Anything above 80 is an outlier, is a great, great company. Strong technical scores and strong fundamental scores. Now, up here, we've got our big money data. This is basically telling you what have the flows look like over 30 days, 90 days, and has it made our outlier report? Very, very powerful stock, Palantir. This is looking at all of the inflows and outflows over the past year. This stock, incredibly, has not had one outflow. More impressive is these are the instances where this stock has made our Outlier 20 list. Very few companies ever make this list, and very few companies see this recurring flow that continues to lift this stock higher and higher. Palantir is an outlier. We're trying to find these companies early before the crowd is excited. You come down here, you can see some metrics on a fundamental basis of what we grade well and not so well, technicals as well, and then also there are some additional stats. Okay, so you can do this for all these tickers to really get a strong money flows picture of a stock. Now, let's go ahead and check in on one other tool that you can use. So this portfolio creator, it is designed to showcase the top recurring stocks in a time frame. So let's go ahead and do June 30th, 2024, 12/31/2024. So 6 months. I want to ask, okay, what are the top 10 stocks that had the most appearances on our Outlier 20 reports? Only care about inflows. We hit submit. Now from here, what happens is you're going to get a portfolio versus SPY, but more importantly, you're going to see the 10 stocks that showcased. So Catalyst Pharmaceuticals was on our reports 8 times, Apollo Global Management 9 times, Royal Caribbean, AvePoint, ServiceNow, CarGurus, Gen Digital, and Palantir. Also Allison and also AEM, Agnico Eagle Mines. Here you can see the performances of those tickers. Here's our Outlier 2010. This is our Tuesday report that comes out every Tuesday morning, and it showcases the top 20 ranked stocks with inflows and the bottom 10 with outflows. Here we've got August 5th, and you can see it right here. These are our top 20, and these are our bottom 10. So again, if you're looking at this and you want to see, okay, let's pick Meta. Populates right back over to Ticker Lookup. And here you can see, here's the green inflows. Clearly they have been high quality. We can see the score here of 82.8. And so now you know how that report is generated. Okay, that is the end of the pro. Now, if you are an advisor subscriber, this is our highest level. You're going to get some tools that are really going to help you with portfolio construction. First thing that you're able to do is you can upload your portfolios. Here I've got a dividend portfolio, a small cap portfolio, and I have an AI themed portfolio. So let's go ahead and check in on how to use this. So I've uploaded and I'm viewing the dividend portfolio. It's got 12 positions. It's got a weighted map score of 51.1, a tech score, and a fundamental score. Here we can see the sector allocation. So staples, right? Because dividends, 41% of the portfolio is in staples and 25% is in healthcare. Now, let's talk about the score distribution. So here we've got Altria, has a map score of 65.5, Morgan Stanley, 65.5, and then we go all the way down the line. Here we've got Costco at 48.3. So here, this tells you the score of every stock in your portfolio. Here you can see the flow analysis of your portfolio. So we hover over here, we can see Morgan Stanley had a net flow of 8, so that is 8 inflows over the past 90 days. We come down here to LVANCE, ELV. It's had a lot of outflows. 5 outflows over the past 30 days and 11 outflows over the past 90 days. Now, in terms of map score, what's your biggest contributor to the score? Here we've got Costco, we've got Wingstop, and the lowest would be Philip Morris. Now you can come down here and see all of this flow data based on the tickers that you input. Very powerful stuff, especially when it comes time for you to rebalance. Now, you can do an investment strategy comparison. So remember, I told you we had 3 portfolios, a dividend, small cap, and AI. Let's compare those 3. So your 30-day performance in terms of inflows, small cap is the winner. Your highest map score is AI, and then your largest weight is going to follow into the dividend category. Now, if we look at map score comparison, AI is the winner, 80.2, rock solid stocks. If we look at the basket weights here, we can say that they are all equally distributed here. And then if we come down, if we look at the flow analysis, we can see that AI has had 10 inflows over the past 30 days and 12 over the past 90. We look at dividend stocks, they've had quite a bit of outflows as that has not performed well over the past. And we come down here and we can look at what sectors we care about. We can look at our holdings over here and really just get that flow analysis that is so important on your portfolios. Let's now turn to ETF flows. So this is very, very important. ETF flows continue to get more and more dominant as time goes on. More and more money is flowing into ETFs. If we look at August 5th, we can see that there were 16 inflows and 1 outflow. You can click that date and it's going to populate below here so you can see the flows by that date. We see that there are 3 equity inflows, 2 outflows, 11 fixed income inflows. Here we can see inflows by asset class. We can also see the economic region distribution. And we can also see by focus. So clearly, investment grade fixed income saw 71% of all the flows. Total market was 7%. Materials was 7%. And broad credit was also 7%. Scroll down here, you can see the ETF that saw inflows and outflows. Let's go ahead and click on the utilities. This is now your ETF ticker lookup, very much like your equity ticker lookup that we saw earlier. Here, what do we know about XLU? You load up the ticker. First off, you can see all of the flows by that ETF. You can see a weighted map score of 67 for this sector ETF. Technical score 74.6, fundamental score 56.4. Look at this. You see the top holdings and their map score and their percentage weight in the ETF. Scroll down further. Here we can see the constituents of the ETF. So you can go through here. You can select any of these stocks. You can see the charts. Here, let's use Vistra as an example. 86.2 map score, technical score of 94.1, and a fundamental score of 75. Click the ticker, and it's going to take you to the ticker analysis for equities. Beautiful inflows recently. That is why it's got the rock solid map score. All right, let's go back to ETF flows. So we saw XLU, and we also saw these fixed income ETFs that saw some inflows. What else can we do with ETFs? A lot. Let's go ahead and visit the top ranked ETFs. So we currently are scoring about 1,000 ETFs every single day. Here in the top ranked ETFs, we can see the top 20 ranked ETFs. Here we've got the Innovator IBD 50 ETF, tickers FFTY. That's the number one. Here we can see the coverage. So how many stocks, what percentage are we scoring? Here's your weighted map score, technical, fundamental score, and also we have volume. So let's go ahead and look at Shock. This has a very strong score. Now you'll notice there is no flow data over here. And the reason for that is because it doesn't trade a lot of volumes. We want to look for institutional level volumes. But still, you want to be able to crack open ETFs and get those scores. And here you can see all of that right here whenever you're doing your analysis. It's a very powerful tool. So again, let's go ahead and do one more ETF ticker lookup. Let's do XLI. Industrials. Coverage, basically 100%. 66.3 map score. Strong technical score. Healthy fundamental score. Top holdings, GE, Uber, CAT, GEV. You can look at all that data here. Let's just pop on GE because that one's of interest. Let's see what the flows look like for GE. Technicals 88.2, fundamental 62.5. Juice. Lots and lots of inflows. This is why you want to be following the flows, focusing less on the news, because flows continue to be sticky. They recur over and over and over, and this is exactly what we witnessed on institutional trading desks. Enjoy the MoneyFlows portal.